Another week, another podcast, untitled, unfocused. I'm Tyler. That is Rayman. And yeah, more anime as always. Never gonna change. Little bit different this week as well. I don't know. Did we say we were gonna do what we were gonna do last week, or was
We
that
did not say
after?
anything. Like we literally
Didn't
talked
say it.
about this post.
Okay, that's fine. It is in the description of the episode, as it is every week. So y'all can know that before I say what I'm about to say, which is, we are going. This week in particular, what we're doing is we're doubling up on the single core shows. So we're going to cover 10 and 11 of For the Universe, Rakugo, MEGALO BOX. Do that for this week, next week. Finish it up. Come back to our bigger shows.
What?
That was good. I like that. That's good. And then I guess we're also starting 2 weeks from now, we're going to add a surprise fourth show as well. We haven't figured out what that's going to be yet, but that's something to look forward to. Some good stuff. How do you think, before we actually talk about the shows, right, just like your feeling of doing it this way, how do you feel?
It's a little back and forth because you see, like, I know we do like the variety.
Mm-hmm.
So like, we'll get into this, right? And we'll be like, we covered 2 shows, and we're like, yeah, or 3 shows, and we're like, yeah.
Mm-hmm.
But it does. I think right now we got ourselves in a pretty good position. We're doing 10, 11. The next week we're also gonna follow up and we'll finish up the show.
Mm-hmm.
So we're gonna have a more conclusive thoughts going into that.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
And there is more. I mean, obviously, on paper, this is super obvious, but there is more to talk about with each show. Even this week, I feel like the double was good.
It's like just a pseudo spoiler drop in this one. Like, if we did Rakugo episode 10 by itself, I don't know how we'd do it.
Yeah. Yeah, no, I see that. That's true.
Like, but because we have 11 here is pulling it up. It's like, I got your back.
Right. Yeah, no, and I think that's kind of the plan fulfilling itself right there, right?
Yeah.
Just like, sometimes we get an episode that's not content heavy.
We get a dead episode. So this is a big reason you guys don't know what we're talking right now. They're dead episodes, and it kind of just makes the podcast just be like, we just skip over it real quick. We're like, that happened. Moving on. Which I guess is okay. Like, it doesn't have to be. But I mean, at least now we can talk about the show.
And talk about variety, which I'm a huge supporter of, right? 3, then soon to be 4 shows, still pretty good.
Yeah.
We don't have to do 10 shows for it to be like a benchmark, right?
We just do 10 shows, 1 episode each.
Do 10 shows, 10 episodes each. We're going to rename it to the 100 episode podcast. It's going to be crazy.
Go. That can be our special.
It could follow the trend of like, how in the like recent like couple years, manga has like followed that trend of like 100 whatever. Like, like 100 days until this alligator kills me or whatever that one manga was.
Yeah, those trends, yeah. I feel like those have died out now.
Yeah,
those are bigger like during COVID when like a lot of them were just like, I don't know what to do. So they're just making like their Twitter web comics, now named X Comics.
It's a cool gimmick though, and I feel like for a few it definitely worked. It's fun.
Yeah. It's like 100 days until like this alligator dies or whatever.
Yeah, something like that. And I was like, oh no.
It's like you already know what's happening. You're like, he's gonna die.
Yeah. How does it work? That's like that approach is kind of similar to, I think we talked about this with something else. I forget what it was. It was probably Rakugo, because that makes sense. But when a story starts and then the rest of the story is flashback, so it's like, oh, we kind of know the ending, but now we're gonna try to feel out like how it gets here, right? That's kind of what the 100 thing is doing, where it's like, okay, we know the thing's gonna die, But how do we get to this point, though?
So sometimes it's fun just to follow the hunt. At least I think for the one I'm thinking of with the alligator dying, like it was just nice, like watching him go through his life and everything. And then when he died, it was obviously a little sad, but you're like, it had kind of a happy feel, like, everyone he loved, like, just around and like having fun, and they're just remembering him for what he was. Kind of a wholesome thing.
Right. Yeah, no, I see that. Yeah. I have a couple things to talk about where I actually thought of stuff to bring to the podcast for the first time.
Yo, this is a new start.
But we're
This is
going to
the
get to
new
that
arc.
later. I feel like these two things shouldn't start off the podcast. So we're going to start with Place Further in the Universe, episode 10 and 11. I really enjoyed these episodes. I feel like this is just what the show is, but we did get more of the actual like characters' thoughts and feelings. I feel like 10 and 11 respectively focused on a different character, which is cool. Like 10 focused on Yuzu and her whole situation, and then 11 focused on Hinata and her whole situation, which was nice. To start off, though, we did get to the camp, and they went crazy over the penguin.
There's a lot of stuff that goes on.
Yeah,
and
which I thought was nice.
There are two nice episodes to look at. We got, well, like obviously like the misconception with Yuzuki trying to figure out like how did everyone become friends.
Yeah, right, because she just doesn't understand. And I'm assuming that has to do with her life, like her being like an actor or whatever, and her kind of maybe not being able to get close to other people. She just literally has no frame of reference for what it means to be a friend, like how that works. And so for them to have to explain it to her, I was like, well, you don't really, there's not really like an agreement,
I thought we signed a contract, Tyler. I thought like me and you, we were like, you're like, sign this here, and we are officially friends. Do not get within 10 feet of me on the weekends.
Okay. Interesting that the contract has a like proximity clause. It's like,
that's why I'm actually recording from home. I'm not allowed to be anywhere near you.
Yeah.
It's following our friendship contract.
Yeah, if we did record in the same place, you'd have to be in like the kitchen or something.
Just you'd hear my echo.
Yeah, right.
It's really bad.
It'd be even worse than recording from home because I couldn't see you. Just be like I think I know what's happening. I thought that was crazy though when she actually bust out a contract.
Yeah.
I was like, what?
She pulled out the contract and she's like, we don't need contracts. We're good. And Chekhov's friend came back. She's like, look, my friend here. She wanted to break up. I told her she's lying. And look, we're still friends.
Right, yeah. I do like that came back around. Be like, oh yeah, there's this other situation. And that kind of helps me understand what I look for in a friend and like what it, kind of what it means to me. And like her situation, very weird, right? Like I don't know too many people that happens to just in the world. It's like, oh, we're not gonna be friends anymore because of weird reasons.
You're lying. We're still friends.
Right, yeah. So, no, I refuse. And she's like, okay. But yeah. And then, I do like Kimuri's like, her whole situation in this where she cries a lot. But it's like, no, she's not upset with you. You're, just like your understanding of a friend is just completely opposite of hers. So it's like you doing that, like, having a lot of words, a literal contract. It almost makes it seem like you haven't been friends this whole time because, even Yuzu's thing, when she says that at first, she was like, when did you all become friends? Did you do it behind my back? And it's like, no, we didn't become friends. All four of us are already friends right now. we are, but like
It's like,
of
I
all
thought
we've
we
been
were friends.
yeah, like you know, again with with her approach of like, well, we didn't agree on this. Like no one approached me about this. It's like, well, that's because that's not
You
how
know,
friendship
there
works.
are people like that though. We're like, who said that we are friends?
Sure.
Like people can say that after like hanging out for like months or whatever.
Hmm.
Like, dude, we're like, this is like we've done this for like months, and he's like, I don't think we're friends though. Well, what the heck is this then? It's
Yeah.
like
Then what are we?
like it's like between acquaintances
Yeah.
because
Yeah.
we're definitely not acquaintances. We're hanging out for like months.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, even acquaintances, I feel like is such on the fence. Where it's like, what does it even mean to be an acquaintance? Like to like
Like it's
want.
like, yeah, if I'm defining it, I'll be like someone that like you say hi to, they say hi back, you small
So
talk, and
like
that's it though.
a coworker.
A coworker could be an acquaintance.
Yeah. Or like your
Friends of
neighbor.
friends, yeah, neighbors, yeah.
But even then, like I wouldn't even define it at that point though. I would just be like, oh, it's just a person I say hi to every now and again.
Like, or oh, that's just my coworker, or oh, that's just my neighbor. There's like another
Yeah.
relationship there.
Right. Yeah. Because someone hearing you say that would understand. Oh, they're not friends. Like they don't hate each other or whatever. But if my neighbor was my friend, I wouldn't have said, oh, it's my neighbor. I would have said, oh, it's my friend. And then if they were like, oh, how do you know them? Oh, well, they're my neighbor. Like I met them and we play, bowling. We go bowling every Saturday or something. But again, for like Yuzu to be like, I get like
It's like
they
what
all agreed.
quantifies as
Yeah, it's like they all did this thing and they went to Antarctica together. How could you not think at that point after all you've been through? Like, also how many things, not everything, but how many things you guys know about each other? Like how could you not think that we're friends at this point? It's crazy, wild. And then even with going to Hinata, I really like that part too.
this is like this is I'm sorry for interrupting again, but this is like a nice way to view the other side of how like the other friend was also feeling for that brief moment.
Right.
Like she was
Yeah.
making up those rumors and everything.
Yeah. She has like the complete opposite experience with like friendship and like her personal life before this. Whereas like Yuzu didn't really experience it at all, it seems, and Hinata had it, but then got betrayed, I guess, by her. Yeah, that scene was tough. That was a very classic like school bully anime situation. you know, I feel like we've seen similar things to that in other, in other shows, but I find that she called herself petty at one moment. She's like, "Oh, I'm a pretty petty person, right?" But the third years who got so upset to like spread rumors about her, they're way more petty than she is. You're like, oh well, this is our last chance because we're third years. It's like, so then get better.
It's like
Just
obviously
be
you're not
better.
good enough. You didn't get picked for the team.
Yeah, like the whole idea of
Why are you arguing with her? Like argue with the coach or whatever.
yeah, like she didn't pick herself. We're all on this team. We're gonna pick the best. You being chosen and making the overall team's effort worse is way selfish. Instead of just being like, well, these are the 10 best people, so these are the 10 people that should represent us. It reminds me of Haikyuu. A little show, if you've never heard of it. But it's the thing where it's like, they do get to, I forget what season it is, like season 2 or whatever. They do get to the point where some of the club members are third years, and it's like, that's our last chance. Like, we have to want to win gold. You want to go all the way, win the championship. Right? Except for this, they can't anymore. And It's very interesting how like prevalent that is. Do you know? You know what I find weird about that, Ray, is like in our school, right? I didn't participate in like organized sports, right?
Mhm.
That wasn't a thing for me. Um, I feel like that's viewed very differently than in anime. You know, I don't want to say Japan because I don't know how similar the anime is to actual real life Japan. So I'll just say anime. Um, y- you know, because like anime, it's more of a club, right? Where it's like, okay, there's a club of volleyball, swimmers, whatever, and they need like funding from their school or whatever. I feel like in our schools, it's less seen as a club and it's more like part of the school. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I get what you're saying. Yeah.
Where it's like, this isn't just a club, you know, like in high school it wasn't like, oh, that's the basketball club. Like no one would ever say that. They would say, oh, that is our basketball team for our school. And it happens no matter what, you know?
I guess it could just come down to like differences in how like I'm gonna pull out and say like, maybe it is like Japanese schooling a little bit. It could just go with how funding is allocated towards schools
Mm-hmm.
differently. So like I know for here, if like the school gets funding, it's also going to go to like the teams and clubs and all that, and they
Sure.
get different cuts. And so maybe it's different in Japan. Maybe they have to, for at least for the ones in anime, I'll say at least, it's always like doing their fundraisers or getting their own funding for those clubs to keep up. It's also another
Right.
way of saying like the students kind of have the choice of like keeping up what they want to see in the school.
I do feel like, yeah, I think that might be the fundamental difference is, again, in anime, um, from what I've seen, the many different shows that kind of have like a similar approach where it's like, okay, every club just kind of fights for funding and like fights for like, no, what we do is important. What we do brings students in, or like, you know, like different clubs like competitions, even like an art club. You're like, oh, well, we entered this competition and we took second and third, so that's crazy. We should get funding, right? Because it's like we're good. It's a good representation of the school. Um, but then in our school in America, right? It's, you know, I feel like just across the board, sports are just seen as like super important because I guess
Yeah,
sports can make money, they can bring people in, and then obviously when you get hired to like college or university, um, I mean, there are some football stadiums, college football stadiums, that are more expensive than uh, the NFL stadiums. It's like, how does that even make any sense? It's just like, again, I feel like sports just get a pass in America for some reason. They're just seen as like uber important, more so than anything else. That's why it's like, oh, you went to an art school, but like no one ever says you went to a sports school, because every
every school's a sports school.
yeah, right. See, I guess maybe that's the difference. But yeah, with Hinata, um, I like that Shirase told them off and was like, "You guys suck. Get away." Like she has friends who actually care about her, and like we didn't get a chance to see it from the friends' perspective. Maybe the friends actually do feel bad and they actually do want to, uh,
Apologize.
yeah, and like apologize, like repair the friendship, right? Maybe they do. We don't know, but um, I do think it was a good lesson for Hinata though, to be like, you don't have to. You don't have to be the one to reach out when you're the one that got hurt. That is the complete opposite way that should happen. You shouldn't have to like forgive them, you know, because again, I really like what she said when she was like, maybe I should apologize, it'll make me feel better. But then imagining their sighs of relief make me really angry, because again, Hinata should not have to apologize to make them feel better, and then they just don't care. You know, it's very possible that they just did it just to make themselves feel good, and then we never hear from them again. They have a clear conscience, and Hinata still does not have them as friends. The worst possible outcome. So it's like, yeah, one of her friends stood up for her and is like, no, we're real friends. Again, going back to the previous episode of Yuzu being like, are we friends? And another funny thing I want to mention is episode 11, we have this Hinata stuff with the friendship, and there was a moment where I like visibly like had like an outburst because there was like some arguing or some discussion over Hinata's friendship stuff, and Yuzu jumped in and was like, yeah, it's because we're friends or whatever. And I'm just like, you didn't know what friendship was like 8 hours ago. What are you talking? You should not be
It's
the
been like
one.
48 hours and you finally understand.
Yeah, it's like, why are you jumping in? But yeah, I just thought that was really funny. I visibly was just like, what do you mean?
This is good. I like Shirase's. I'll put quote unquote outburst at them. I like that. One, because it's her turning up, which she barely does. She tries to keep low. Like, she was only really excited to, like, I think it goes back to the idea that she wanted to prove that, like, by going to Antarctica, she can do whatever she wants. So, like, she sees this, and then, like, she's like, yeah, Hinata can do what she wants. Like, she's already here. She's proven that she doesn't need you guys. So she's, like, using that same energy. Which is very opposite of how she is normally on camera. She just let them have it.
Right, yeah. Yeah, I mean, with Hinata... Yeah, I mean, because we usually see her... I mean, we've seen this, and we made a point of this a few episodes ago, when they were, like, sneaking around, trying to figure out, like, oh, I feel like the crew's keeping secrets from us. And, like, everyone was playing ninja, and, like... And she was just, like, super casual about it and everything. So, like, I feel like normally has that sort of attitude towards things. So for her to be very distraught, we don't really see that ever. She's normally just kind of laid back, like chilling. So yeah. And then even for us to have that scene where Shirase saw her like kicking the snowbanks and throwing the buckets and stuff, she doesn't really do that ever. You can tell this like really got to her. Yeah. It is good though. Seeing everyone's backstories and it's actually watching them become friends and learn stuff about each other. This doesn't always happen, Last 2 episodes, right? Where do you think this goes from here? We did have, I'm going to interrupt myself. Did you watch the very end of episode 11? The like last 10 seconds?
Well, what happens in that?
Nothing. But like, this show has the uncanny ability of having like that end credit sequence, or like after the end credits or whatever, be like the most ominous thing ever for no reason. So like, I'm pretty sure it was episode 11 where like where after the credits ended, there's like 7 seconds left or whatever, and it was just like a slow zoom out of like one of their desks. It had like laptop, books, whatever on it. And it was like sort of at night, like there was like shadows and whatever. And there was like sort of ominous music, but nothing happened. It was just that. And I was just watching it and I was like, why is this? What is this foreshadowing? Like, I don't understand why this is here. Like, you could have just ended at the credits. Like, the credits just happened.
The mom's ghost is coming back.
Yeah, right? Yeah, the mom. I just don't understand. But yeah, we had the last 2 episodes. We're going to wrap the show next week. Do you have any ideas as to how the show ends?
The mom's ghost comes back. Everyone...
Okay.
It's just going to be the ending of The Thing, really. Have you seen that?
I have not.
You should watch it. The Thing is good.
Is that the one where it's like Arctic setting? It's like a bunch of researchers or something? Okay, yeah. I know of it. I've never seen it, though.
Yeah, there's like a new one, I think. Don't watch that. Watch the old one. The new one's a sequel, but it's not good, from what I've heard.
That movie seems like one of those movies. That movie seems like one of those movies that's been remade a million times. Like one of those classic, like, like monster horror movies where it's like, oh, every 10 years it gets a remake because Hollywood needs to, Hollywood has run out of ideas.
It's like this is like one of the horror movies where, like, I put horror in quotes right now, but, all the protagonists are intelligent and they're doing the right thing, yet it still goes wrong.
Mm. I do like that. Because yeah, I feel like too many times it's like a group versus a thing, not the thing, a thing, and the group is clearly making bad decisions, and you're like, this is not how real people would act or think. Like they're going to die.
Yeah, I think it helps that they're like, it's because it's an Arctic expedition. They're all like scientists, so like they're all like, okay, well let's run a hypothesis and like do it this the right way and figure out what's happening.
Right. Yeah. There's like there's actual like story reason as to why they're smart, and it's not just.
Yeah.
That's cool. Yeah, I like that. Yeah.
It's like it's horror, but like not like I wouldn't say it's scary. It's more like, oh yeah, this is like a monster.
It's more of like a thriller.
I guess it's kind of gory, but I wouldn't say it's scary.
Is it in black and white?
No, it's in color.
It's in color. Yeah. That movie's always a movie.
John Carpenter's The Thing.
Yeah, that movie's always a movie I hear about, and people are like, "No, this movie's really good and it holds up."
Okay, but I just remembered that John Carpenter also made like Halloween, so.
Okay, it's a pretty good track record then.
Halloween I also stand by not being a scary movie. I stand by it being like really suspenseful.
Yeah, suspense. Yeah. Yeah, I see that.
Like I also enjoy it. Maybe I just like his style. That could be it. Because like I watched Halloween and I'm like, this is pretty good.
I feel like that's what happens with a lot of like horror franchises. Is like the first or the second one are unique, and then after that it just gets crazy, and they're just like, oh, we can do whatever with it, and then they kind of blend together because they all start kind of do the same thing to try to be relevant again. It's like no, go back to the first one. That one was cool. We don't need Halloween X,
It's like, was it the first of the new Halloweens I liked as well when they did that?
Yeah. That one have like Jamie Lynch, one of them. What's her name?
Yeah, Jamie Lee Curtis. Yeah, she's back.
Jamie Lee Curtis. There we go. Two different actresses mixing up. Yeah.
Yeah, because like she's in the first one. So they brought her back again for the.
Right.
Also, she kills the. She's good.
You fan of Scream? Like Scream?
I want to watch Scream.
Yeah. That's kind of made like a like revival in the scene. Got like the like the new young actors in it and everything. People are digging it.
Is it because of is her name Jenna Ortega? Is that her name?
Jenny Jenner, yes, Ortega. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, because she did. She got really big with Wednesday, as well. Yeah. Also, Jack Quaid is in it as well. I like him. Hear it. Yeah.
It's pretty funny.
From The Boys. Anyone who hasn't seen The Boys, great show. Is that show over? They're still making more of that?
They're still making more of that.
Yeah. Oh, they're also doing the. There's like a spin-off, right? Of like.
Yeah.
High school, college kids, something like that.
Yeah, college kid spin-off.
Yeah, that's cool. I like that. Did you watch the like animated series they did?
I did not.
It was pretty cool. It was okay.
I should maybe do it. I mean, I'm mostly just watching like the show, so.
It was okay. Only it was like Black Mirror style, so like every episode is different. And only the last one was canon. All the other episodes are just like fun stories they told, and I'm pretty sure each one was in like a different animation style.
It's pretty cool.
Yeah, that was cool. Speaking of that, one of the topics I brought, it's probably gonna be very short because I don't want to get into spoilers of The Thing. Not The Thing, but The Thing I'll talk about.
Not John Carpenter's The Thing.
Yeah, not John Carpenter. Listen, if anyone out there was confused, if anyone out there is watching the subtitles, I already talked to you about this a little bit, Ray, but I did finally see Across the Spider-Verse, and that has a lot of different art styles. That's the connection. I like I already told you, I thought it was really good. Anyone out there who hasn't seen it yet should. I just, because I mentioned earlier about Hollywood not having any more ideas, and technically they are still pulling from Spider-Man, which is a known IP. But I do feel like movies like this, because the whole like Hollywood thing recently, movies have been dying. People haven't really been going to see movies. Tom Cruise is trying to keep him alive. Barbie is keeping him alive. We need movies like this to keep things interesting. I don't think a movie like this has ever been made, not only visually but also just story-wise and like pacing-wise. I thought it was really good. Again, I don't want to spoil anything, but the way they ended the movie, it very much felt like this is part one. I mean, it is because we have Beyond the Spider-Verse next, but they ended it in a place where I think other movies would have been like 90% of the way done through one movie.
Mm-hmm.
They ended in a place where it's like, yeah, we're right in the middle, and you gotta wait until next year to see it.
And there's a lot of, no spoilers here. There's a lot of ways they can go from where that is.
I think I immediately thought of Infinity War and Endgame, but I think this movie does it better. Just like the ending and like how shocking it is, because even in Infinity War, and I'm gonna spoil Infinity War because I mean that was an event. Everyone,
it's a bit old.
If you haven't seen it by now, come on, they made $1 billion in 2 days. That movie still felt like an end though. Like that movie, we could have never gotten Endgame. I mean, a different world, because obviously we live in a world of money and they were gonna make more movies. But if they just stopped making movies after Infinity War, that would have been the sickest ending to 10 years of movies ever. If it was just like, yeah, he snapped and he's done, and all those characters died. The end.
I like to bring up a story because you're with me in the theater, but like for Infinity War, I would think I was like one of the only happy people at that ending.
yeah, no.
I was like, man, that's great.
Yeah.
Everyone else is like, the theater's quiet and they're like, everyone's joining out, and I'm like, whoa, that's good.
Oh no, Spider-Man died. Oh no.
Like, man, it's really enjoyable. It's fresh. It was exciting for Marvel, because like really built up Thanos in there, souped them up, really stole the show.
Which is interesting because I feel like in Spider-Verse, they haven't really built up who I believe is the main villain, unless they're gonna pull like a whole switcheroo on us or something. But they haven't really built him up at all. Different, obviously, because this isn't 10 years of movies. But again, I thought it was really good. I will spoil the very first scene, which I really liked. And I wasn't sure that the movie even really started. Almost, I don't know if you remember right, but it does open up with Gwen Stacy. She's playing the drums, and like whoever, there's probably multiple people, but whoever like animated the scene lost their minds doing it, because like it's just like a bunch of different colors, shapes, like it's like almost a montage, but it's all one thing though. Like it's not really like there's not a bunch of different like images flashing or anything. It's just her going crazy on the drums, and like it just perfectly sets up her character and like how she feels the entire movie. It's just like, yeah, that was even like starting the movie with her and not Miles is huge, because like
yeah, she's the opening for this movie, and when she gets like a pretty sizable chunk, and then you realize, oh, we're starting now.
Yeah.
Like some people are gonna like wait and be like, oh, you mean that was just like we haven't even gotten to like the actual story? We're like doing how many minutes in and we still have like just this.
Right.
So yeah, this is important, not just for Gwen, but for setting up the movie. It shows us the tone that we're going into.
Right. Yeah. I think I remember this. I remember like thinking this. We hit like 20 minutes before the title screen pops up, and it's like, that was the intro? What is this movie gonna be?
20 minutes dedicated purely to Gwen.
Yeah.
Insane.
But yeah, so I just wanted to mention it because I love this movie. Like, like I told Ray, this might be one of my favorite movies of all time. It's just like Spider-Verse was really, really good. Obviously, like a 10 out of 10 probably. In this movie, there was some worry going into it because it's like, are they going to be able to recapture it? Was it just like fresh at the time? And now more movies and TV shows have done similar things to it. Is the second movie going to feel kind of lackluster? This movie is like 10 times better than the first one. And the first one was, like I said, probably a 10 out of 10. It's crazy.
It's like I only have like one gripe with it, and that's like it's part one. That's the only gripe.
True.
Because
Yeah.
I like seeing my complete storylines together, which is I think that's why I kind of enjoyed Infinity War, because it was complete by itself. Really, it just ended off, and you're like, that's good. Like it didn't need Endgame, like you're saying.
Yeah.
Like this movie can stand by itself, but every time I watch it, I was thinking, still not really over though.
No, it's not. It's definitely not. And yeah, I do agree with what you said, where you're like, oh, they have a bunch of different ways they can go with it. Because again, for me, this is like, for other movies, this is like where this movie ends is the start, or honestly, probably somewhat through the third act of another movie. And so the fact that they have presumably another 2 hours of story to tell, it's like, what else are they gonna do? Like, I feel like they just walked in the door of the third act. How do they still have 2 more hours left?
Yeah.
But that just shows that some they're go crazy. What I'll say, we haven't really seen too much of other verses yet. We just saw, which again, I don't want to spoil it. Maybe I'll mention this to you after, but there was a universe that Miles went to, and then you're like, oh, this is not what you thought it was, which was like a huge reveal in the movie, but we'll talk about that after. One last thing I want to say about it is I really enjoyed sort of the beginning-ish, well, not really the beginning, I think it was like in the middle probably, but when we see like 5 seconds of the Lego universe and like the Lego Spider-Man, it was literally just like 5 seconds. And it wasn't important to the story unless it comes back around in some way. But I just thought that was really cool, where it's like, oh, they're messing with Legos. That's cool. I thought that was
fun. A fun fact with that. There's a kid YouTuber who does like Lego Spider-Man, I believe, animations. And they got him to do that segment.
Oh, that's cool. That's nice. I like that. Yeah. They had a bunch of different like fun cameos in the movie, and I think they can do that because there's just so many characters.
That's it, yeah. If you want to like really talk about this movie, Rashawn knows way too much about this movie.
I'm sure. Yeah, you're telling me you watched it a bunch of times already.
Like I know some stuff about it that's like pretty cool, but like he knows all the details. Like he'll tell you like what versions of the movie were like used for like theaters, because they have like 2 or 3 versions going around, like different scenes that they cut and changed before they put it to streaming. It's like weird stuff.
Do you think, just going back to what you said, I'm kind of done with Spider-Verse. I enjoy the movie. Everyone should go see it. Very good in my opinion. This movie makes me want to buy the art book for it. I'm starting to get into art books, right? Because art for movies are pretty cool. I'm definitely gonna have to get this one. This one's gonna be nuts.
Every frame for this movie is kind of just an art piece.
Yeah. What's that like subreddit? Every image something? Every image a painting or something like that?
I know there's the YouTube channel, Every Frame a Painting.
Oh, YouTube? That's probably what it is. I do want to go back to something you said, though, where you were like, oh, I don't like, or I like it to be a complete story, right? Do you think that's why you've fallen off of the MCU? Is because it's kind of meandering at this point?
I kind of did fall off MCU. My mom actually watched Miss Marvel on TV. They had it on ABC.
Oh, yeah, I heard about that, yeah. Yeah, they're putting stuff on ABC, and I think a couple other of their channels they own.
So yeah, she watched like all of that and she enjoyed it. She doesn't watch Marvel really.
Mm-hmm.
She had fun with that.
Yeah. Yeah, I think that's probably why I fell off of it too. I mean, I will probably catch up at some point. I'll try to, but it's just not there anymore, you know?
I think what I'll do, I'll watch Loki season 2. If I
Dude,
like it enough,
can't wait for that.
I'll hop back in. You know, I'll try and catch up if I like it enough. Well, I'll catch up on what I want to catch up on. I think that's what I should do with MCU. If I like it, I'll be like, I'll just watch this.
Yeah, I mean, I'll probably end up watching every movie, but
I'll
some
drop
of them,
to casual fan.
yeah, I think there's some of them I'll be more excited for. Like Guardians 3, I'll be like actively watching that one, but like, what are some other ones that came out? I don't even know. Some other movies that came out of them. What's the last? I mean, even like Black Panther too. I'm just like, I don't know if I really want to watch that.
Namor.
Quantumania I was really excited for, and then everyone was like, this movie sucked. I was like, oh man, how did they mess that up? Loki season 2 though, the only thing I'm excited for in the future for MCU. Don't care about anything else. There's no real way to tie this together. We're talking about Rakugo next. Episode 10 and 11, of course. So you said you weren't really feeling episode 10, right? The one where the guy dies?
I mean, like, what is episode 10? Like, I think there's some stuff I can pull for episode 10. Like, but there's not much to really talk about for episode 10. We kind of already know where it's at. There's a couple to talk about episode 10. So, we do have, obviously, the Master dying. And it focuses on Shin and that relationship. So the Master's, like, saying, like, hey, the OG Sukeroku was my master's disciple, and then he left because of what I did to the master. And my jealousy came into this relationship, and when I saw he took his name, that kind of bugged me the wrong way, because then I'm feeling like, you know, my own emotions take control of the situation. And he's like, even though I want him to take the name, my own pride doesn't let that happen, because I still hate that guy.
Right.
And that would be like letting that guy win. And I'm like, that's cool, you know, that's interesting. That's something new, you know?
That's
and
petty.
Then that is petty. That's true petty. Yeah, Shirase wishes that she could end Hanate. That's real petty. That's next level. But then he still raised him though and all that. But he's like, you know, the moment he like wanted the name, he's like, I can't do that. That's not me.
Yeah.
Even though he knows he's more talented, he can't do it. And then when, like, at the end of episode 10, obviously we have your boy, like, he's performing Shinigami, which, as we know, as the other viewers, this is like his number one. This is like this is his magnum opus, that his Rakugo that, you know, defines who he is as an artist, you know? This is the one that you can say he perfected over time. So we get to see him perform his Shinigami. For the first time, I guess, that we're seeing it with this audience. But it has a different meaning, seeing that the master just died. We can see it as a kind of catharsis, as him answering the death.
Right, yeah. Yeah, this one definitely feels different than any other performance we've seen of his. It feels like he is, like, I don't know, like, his master's death definitely changed him. I feel like he did do better in this performance, though. Like, you know, he, like, was in the world more. You know, they like, visualized that as well, which was nice. I think even later when, you know, we'll get to it, but doesn't, like, Shin mention that as well? About, like, his... You know, like, his performances feel different, even like the little performances that he has when he is, like, living with him, you know?
Yeah, they have a conversation about how they like the smaller audience so they can cater more for it, and they feel they can work with that much better. like play up what they what he sees they want to play up, and then like work around it.
Yeah, rather than like doing like a whole theater, 1,000 people. So yeah. Like you said, episode 10, not too much. The master dying, I think, is a big moment, but that's kind of all that happens.
I do understand why they dedicate an episode to it. It's again something that's kind of necessary for the plot to happen, and I think a good reason why nothing, I'll put quote unquote there, happens is because that's basically it. Like he takes the time, and it lets us kind of think about what's happening.
And I mean, it's like you said, it's big for him. He has to kind of rethink his life.
Yeah, it's a slow episode, but it has its own purpose for it.
And that does lead to the next episode, which is him going back for Shin, seeing that he has a kid. Just
him actually leaving. He's like, I'm not gonna be in Tokyo. He's like, I'm out of here. I'll come back.
I feel like his whole opinion of that changed too. Where he would have never done that before. He does want Shin to come back to Tokyo, but
he also wants him to take up the name.
Yeah.
He's like, take the name, take care of your daughter, do good.
Yeah. Because right now, so yeah, we do get there, we see his stuff, and it's like his place sucks.
He's in debt.
Yeah. His daughter is collecting change from people to try to pay for food. This is not going well.
It's like the moment he sees her, he's like, this is his daughter. He just knows it. He's like, yep. He's like, there's no escape in this.
This is him. I do really like, probably my favorite moment of the entire 2 episodes is when Bon is performing for the daughter, having a good time, right? And then Shin interrupts him and starts performing it as well. And then they start performing it together.
Best moment of the episode.
Which is great, just on a base level of like them together again. They seem happy together, which is great. But then also it is kind of fulfilling what Shin wanted to do a few episodes ago, where he was like, hey, we should perform together. We would kill it. And right now they are. They're performing for his daughter, but I don't know. Maybe
it's the feeling they get from that. Yeah.
Yeah. And maybe they never will, like, officially. This could just be a nice little moment for them to kind of have that like unspoken like feeling and like understanding and stuff. But it'd be cool to see them do that in like an official capacity, doing like actual Rakugo and stuff like that, because they do play with each other very nice. They do know each other. I feel like they can do opposite characters very well. They both have like their strengths, obviously. But
yeah, we saw them perform in the theater like that, and they both killed it.
Right. Yeah. Yeah. So like, it could be the new wave. It could be them being like, hey, we're gonna start something that no one else really does. We're gonna make this like a thing, and not just something that we do every now and again and stop, like a fad, right? Like, no, two person Rakugo, that's the new thing. Rakugo's been suffering, right? That's what all the masters are saying. They're like, oh, no one cares anymore. 2-person Rakugo though, twice the fun,
Okay. Well, so as you know, like, we do get to see the daughter, and we get to see her first impressions of like Bond and what she thinks of him. And compared to the present day, she likes him, she's friendly with him. Obviously, the death of the father, she really just drained the relationship for her.
Yeah.
Just toward the wrong way.
Which makes sense, right? Even forgetting who Bond is and like their relationship, right? Like that would definitely change. That would definitely change her, and even her wanting to get into Rakugo too.
And we actually get to see the actual response that he says to her here. He's like, "No, girls don't do Rakugo. They're there to illuminate our performance."
Right. Yeah. Yeah. Which is great because like as I was watching that, I was like, oh wow, he's really saying it. Okay.
It's
Oh
like
geez.
that's his opinion that he keeps. Does not change from that in the slightest.
Mm-hmm.
Or maybe he will in the next season.
Maybe. Um, I do like when he says that though, and then she sees the opportunity. She's like, "Oh, we don't do Rakugo, but like now that I'm pretty, you have to do Rakugo for me." And like,
He's like, damn, played myself.
yeah, yeah. And he even says that too, where he's like, "Oh, I can't argue with you there." kind of
So, yeah,
kind of logicked my way into a corner.
I just said I do it, so I do it.
Yeah.
It was good.
Yeah. I
Mhm.
don't know. Oh yeah, then just we haven't really mentioned this yet, but the mom left on them, right? Mom's nowhere to be seen, so that's got to
She's
be tough
working,
for
I
them.
guess.
Yeah.
I mean, if I saw anything at the ending, like I guess she's working. I don't know if she's gonna come back with the money or if she's just
Right,
well,
which is gonna be
it's a
tough though.
it's a troublesome relationship.
I mean, because even Shin says that, right? Where he's like, "Oh, she does this," But then you look at the daughter, and the daughter's like, "I hate her. She's disgusting." I'm just like, "Whoa, okay, two very different opinions here."
I think it's just like it's again the kid's point of view. Mom's not home, dad's always taking care of me. He's making me laugh and all that. So
Hmm.
like, you know, it's like when she comes home, she probably just yells at him, tell him to clean up or whatever.
Right.
And then it's Shin. We know what's gonna happen. He's gonna be like, yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, it's tough to like, as a kid, not to feel that way, right? Where it's like, well, you're never here. I don't even know you. Like what? Like we're out here suffering, and even if she is the one making the money, it's like there ain't no money today. I had to, I had to perform poorly for people and them give me nickels, for us to pay
She's
for
lucky the
food.
soba bar lets her do that too. They don't
That's
have to do
true.
that.
Yeah, that's true.
They just happen to like her enough where they're like, yeah. And like I guess she also draws people in enough, and she's decent enough because you know Shin's also good.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Mm.
I was thinking that maybe like, oh, well, if Shin performs there every now and again. It's like, no, oh, he doesn't? Oh, he just lays in bed and, oh, interesting. I feel bad.
So they must be like they probably take a sweet spot there, and they're like, yeah, she's good enough. We'll let her do this. And it's like one of the only ways they make money.
And yeah, just like you said, if she was like a troublesome kid, that'd be different, but she doesn't seem that way. She seems, respectful enough to just kind of do her thing and then let people be, I guess. Which works in her favor.
It's like like I think from these episodes here, if we watch the first one again, it's really gonna be different.
Yeah, no. I mean, I'm sure we'll feel that way even more so about the last couple.
Finish it up. Yeah.
Yeah.
We hit 12 and 13, and we watch episode 1 again.
And then we just started over. We only need Ray. I don't think you understand. We only need these 3 shows.
I mean, Rakugo really is that good. I mean, it has that,
Yeah.
it's a slow build up. And then it pays off, and then it builds up again, and it pays off, and it builds up, and it pays off.
Yeah, it's pretty good at that. It's cycle.
So I'm ready for it to build up and then pay off.
Yeah, last couple episodes, yeah. Finally connect this ending with the beginning, right? Oh, how'd we get there? Yeah.
So like he definitely like this is me like guessing right now like he definitely dies like before he's gonna perform in the theater, right?
I could see that.
Like he's back in Tokyo, he's done a couple stuff. Like they may have signed them on for the theater that he always wants to perform in. He dies before then.
Yeah, them having this like super like tragic ending. Like, oh, I got pulled back, finally doing it, having this crazy performance lined up.
And was it Bond's only blamed because he convinced him to go back to Tokyo?
Yeah, that would make sense.
Hmm.
So obviously didn't kill him, but he does
Yeah,
always blame himself for what happened. It's like that.
she blames him too. She's like, if it wasn't for you, he would have, you know. Mhm. The real
Yeah.
blame is him actually convincing him to go to Tokyo.
Right. Yeah, it's tough.
Hmm. But that's what I'm guessing. This is like a big guess.
That would line up nicely, though, I think.
Hmm.
Yeah, no, I like that.
Hmm. Yeah. That gets us to Nomad. Are you mad? I'm not.
That one wasn't your best, I'll be honest. Wasn't your best. I expect more from you.
You got a little smile, so I'll take it.
No.
Hey, hey, hey.
So we got Nomad, episode 10 and 11. I have some thoughts about this episode, or these episodes.
Mhm.
I like that we get more into Sacho's. We finally break him open, right? Like
We
like
hit
an
his thought
onion
space
has
a little bit.
layers. What
Onions
happened?
have layers.
Yeah,
Ogres
onions
have
have layers.
layers. Sacho has layers.
Parfait. Um,
Mhm.
which in hindsight, super obvious. Where it's like, oh, I blame Joe, but I also blame myself for what happened. But I do like that they did it through a match where Joe just annihilating this child.
Without gear, by the way.
No gear. He's an old man at this point. He's probably like 40 at the, like
Pushing
he,
like late 30s, early 40s.
yeah. I mean, and also a boxer, so like that adds like 10 years
Yeah.
onto your life. Just schooling this kid, right? Which I thought was very satisfying. Not because I dislike Sacho, but I was just like,
Joe came to the conclusion the only way this guy's gonna learn is if I actually throw hands.
yeah. So listen, man, you've been making fun of me. You've been disrespecting me this whole time. Why don't you step into the ring for a hot second, all right?
So you want to fight? Let's fight.
Yeah, well, let's do it. I let you win in the rain. You remember that? I let you win. You want to have like a sanctioned match? We got 15 seconds. I do like that happening though because I don't think Sacho will ever fully forgive him.
Mhm.
But it is kind of like in the air now. It's out in the open. I think they come to an understanding. And there's something that we can finally move past. Like I don't think that's ever going to be like a sticking point for either Sacho or Joe going forward. It's a moment that had to happen. Especially
Well
for it to
said.
happen, to get it out the way, to then move on to Joe having to deal with Mac and Lou and all these other people that he has these like weird, these weird like relationships with. And I do like his sort of reveal of his reason why, right? Where I don't remember who the guy is who talks to him. Probably from season 1 as well. I don't know.
Yeah.
But he's like, "Oh, it was never about the money, was it?" And he was like, "Nah. It was me trying to say, hey, I know that Gramps is gonna die. I know this. We all know this. But him dying doesn't have to be the end. Like him dying doesn't mean like, oh, let's just throw our lives away. It's over. It's like, no, like we can do more stuff after this. Like we can still continue to live, thrive. We have our own dreams, all this stuff. So like that was like his real reason. He wasn't, I mean, again, like he probably knew he was gonna die. He knew that the money wasn't gonna save him, but him winning the match and proving that we don't need him, we're still a family. You know, just because he dies doesn't mean this is over. I like that reveal too, because he just kind of goes more into Joe's psyche, and it's
You
just
get
painting
to
him as
see
the
more
bad
of
guy.
Joe. Yeah.
Yeah. What else? Joe then collapses, looking a lot like his mentor who died, right? He's down in the
You get
hospital.
that brain damage in there. Turns out
Yeah.
boxing gives you brain damage. You would have thought.
Who would have thought? He came punched in the head 400 times. Who would have thought? Also, the pills.
They're like, how much painkillers have you been on? And he's like, you have no idea.
It's like, do we have... Has technology gone far enough to make a calculator that can actually calculate that big of a number? There were also, like, really bad ones, too. Like, he wasn't getting prescriptions.
Yeah, man, he was getting these, however you get them, like, this is
Laced
the
with
stuff.
heroin, you know? So yeah, that was a big thing. I do like his, and this is very like sports anime, right? But him being like, I'm gonna take the match, and the one kid, I don't remember his name, he's like, ooh, Gearless Joe is back, baby. And then Joe's like, sorry, kid, there's gonna be regular Joe. And then he pulls out Chief's gear, and it's like, oof, what a moment, for him to be like, oh, it's gear. I mean, he means a lot to me. It was also his kid who built the gear, and so we're kind of carrying that dream along with this match. So much stuff.
Joe's like, I'm getting in the ring last time. I want Chief with.
Yeah, exactly, dude. Can we just go back and remember just how sudden his death was in this show? Like, it just happened.
Chief stole the show for like the few episodes he was in.
He did, dude. He was the best character. He was good.
They got the flowers all everywhere. And they're like, if Nabu was here, he would like the flowers. And they're like, heck yeah, he loves flowers.
Heck yeah, dude. I like the idea of, because like Gearless Joe making a return to like a real match, right? I mean, I guess he did fight Lou, but that was an exhibition, right? That wasn't like a real match, right?
Or was it also real? An exhibition. This is also gonna be exhibition. That's exhibition. Just more like he's retired, so he doesn't want to actually fight. So their exhibition match isn't bad because there's no he's not like an actual. He's not competing for the title or anything. He's just fighting just to.
But there are a lot more eyes on this one, though.
Yeah.
Like the newspapers and stuff have like picked it up, and
Joe's return.
Yeah.
After how long? Mac is the current champ. It's pretty good.
So the idea of him coming back and it's like, Gearless Joe, but he's like, no, I don't have gear. It's just Joe, and then them printing it and saying like, quote unquote, just Joe. Like that's his nickname. He's just Joe.
Look, he just said he's NOMAD.
Ooh, that'd be good. That'd be good.
It's not going to. He's gonna go, I'm just Joe.
I'm just Joe. Yeah, I like that. That's good. And then we have at the end we have Mac, that whole storyline, right? With like
he learns the truth.
Yeah,
his wife was like, it's like definitely nothing wrong with him.
Like, do it. You
she lied as calmly as.
Yeah. I mean, but
she breathed.
She did it because like
the son was good.
Yeah.
Just to get his surgery good.
Yeah, it was like it wasn't quite coercion, but it was.
You get 2 surgeries.
Hey, we might have a donor for your son. If you just you wanna do the whole brain chip thing, might have a donor lined up.
It's like you could do just the thing and wait for him to get therapy, but that's not gonna pay for your son.
Yeah.
It's like this guarantees your son's surgery. And also you can see your husband sooner because he's going to recover faster.
Mm-hmm.
So he was always going to recover, which is crazy to me. I think that's actually the crazy part, is he was always going to recover.
Well, I don't know about always.
But he wasn't going to be like a boxer, He was just going to get back on his feet and like,
I mean, he's gonna live either way.
yeah,
But I feel like she said like, oh, with like years of
physical therapy,
therapy,
all
you
that.
might be able to
Yeah,
feel your legs again or something.
yeah.
It's like, okay. I feel like without the sun thing, she definitely wouldn't have done the chip, right?
hmm She's like,
Um,
we could wait it out.
yeah. But then with the sun hanging over their head, it's like that's so evil, you know?
hmm So you need a donor, and that's expensive. So
Hmm.
like, the medical system once again is the villain.
Once again.
It's like non-boost recovery. He had money, we could probably do it. No guarantee he'd live recover, but it's a possibility. And then Joe's taking the tiniest of excuses to be like, bet.
I got you. Don't worry. And also with them just being like, do you see what's happening to Mac? They're still like, it's for science though. I'm like, no. Mac is
It's
going
like
to kill somebody.
he's disrupting his family.
Yeah. He's like ripping up his son's book or whatever.
Already seen him groveling his food a couple episodes ago.
It did happen. Yeah, it did happen.
He's like, is okay? No, he's not okay.
I'd be close to okay.
He's the nomad now. He's wandering.
I am the nomad.
It ends with Joe dying and then Mac taking the gear. That gear is just cursed to have the blood of other people on it.
Oof.
So when Mac dies, his son will have it.
I could see Mac going crazy and killing Joe in the ring. So no, stop. We can't do it. Do you think Joe's gonna win his match?
I have no idea. Honestly, I think he loses, but hey, you never know. The crazy thing to me is that I just think about Megalo Box is that this is just a spin-off of Ashita Nojo. Every time.
Yeah.
They took, like, Megalo Box was already a spin-off, and they're like, but what if Joe won? And they're like, what if we made a sequel to that spin-off?
What if?
Except
What if
make
you
it like
just keep
really
spinning
down to
things
earth.
off?
Like make it like really like personal story for it.
Yeah. It's not really doesn't follow the sports anime formula for season 2.
Yeah, like cause season 1 was like, oh yeah, this is like you definitely see it. You're like, oh yeah, he's like doing it. And season 2 is like, no, let's get real for a moment. It's like this is what real sports does to you.
Yeah. It's like I mean it is that stuff that you never see, right? It's like season 1, very flashy, and then season 2 is like, oh well, here's all the consequences of everything the main character partook in the first season. You know? Yeah. I think if I had to guess, I think Joe wins. Not because he's the main character. But I think one, it'd be nice to see him get the win and sort of prove what he couldn't prove in the other match. You know when he was fighting for Gensaku's life or whatever, even though he knew he was gonna die. But also, not only for him to win, but for Mac to lose. I think Mac needs to lose, just to kind of hit that point in which he stops boxing.
Okay. So, I like what you're saying. I think Joe's also going to die.
Okay.
I think he's gonna win and die.
There's like a cycle.
It's just like, I mean, like he's even telling people, he's like, hey, like I'm not really feeling that good, and like we're gonna do this though, right? And everyone's like, yeah, let's do it. The one kid was like, I don't want Joe to die, and everyone else was like, nah, let him die. I was like, let him die.
Nah, you should let him though. It'd be funny.
That one kid's like, I don't want Joe to die. I don't want him to fight. Everyone's like, nah, let Joe fight. Let him fight. Blood for the blood god.
I mean, there's not another season after this.
No, that's
so I think him dying. Not that indicates that he dies, but I think that I think dying would make sense. Um, especially with them like getting that gym back up. They finally get it back up and running in his honor, not only not only Gensaku's honor. I think that would make sense.
Yuri and Lou own the gym. They run that joint.
That could be.
Is Lou ever going to get out of the bed, or from his paralysis, he can have a wheelchair like Yuri? It's like rolling around.
He also gets the chip. He learns nothing. And he also gets the chip in his head.
Lou learns nothing. He actually gets a chip of all of Joe. Like, Sachio works with the company and makes a chip for Lou that gives him all of Joe's techniques.
Oh no. But it also gives him, like Ultron, Ultron that kind of took over Jeeves or whoever. What's the other AI's name? Jarvis. Ah, yes. I was close.
And then became like a Vision. Yeah.
Yeah. So like, he gets his techniques, but he also gets a little bit of Joe in there. Just a
like Joe comes out in the middle of the match and he's like, I gotta take off my gear, and Lou's like, no.
No, please.
Lou's like, no, I need my gear. And Joe's like, I'm in control now. Take the gear off. Take it off.
I gotta take off my gear. No. Just like the like frantic panic. No. Joe, please. I like the idea that's all Joe does though. Like just in random moments, he's like, I gotta take the gear off, and he's like, Joe, I'm just sitting down eating cereal. What is happening?
Take the gear off. Take it off.
We're gearless Joe.
The crazy part is that he actually wins gearless. That's the best part.
Oh man, he takes it off. Oh jeez. There's only been one other fighter to do this.
Lou, you can barely breathe, but you keep winning these matches. You gotta stop taking the gear off.
It's like, I trust me, it's not my decision. I can't stop. He then has developed this special gear that has 2 layers. And so he wears dual gear, and so when the Joe comes out, takes off the first gear, it tricks him. It like satisfies that like animal instinct in the Joe.
Yeah.
To like think, no gear, joke's on you, second gear.
Answers the question. It's perfect. It's beautiful.
Yeah. So yeah, that's all of our shows, right?
Yeah.
I did want to mention, it is adjacent to something that we mentioned before, but not the same argument. I'm not going to bring up the same discussion again. But there was more news. I'm sure you've seen this with Jobless Reincarnation. I don't know if you saw anything about this.
No, I don't keep up really. What was it?
Okay. So the most recent episode, well, I don't know. Episode 7 might have come out by the time, but there's episode 6, and there's some slavery stuff happening in that episode.
Classic isekai and slavery. Name a better pair.
Yeah, name a better duo. I'll wait.
Tom and Jerry.
Well, you called my bluff. You immediately named a better duo. That's crazy. But yeah, so just try to be as succinct as possible. Rudius buys a slave to like a little female child. I think she's 6 or something. And the whole point of it is that they just needed to do stuff, right? They just needed to like build stuff for them, and like she's a child, so when you start off teaching magic at a young age, it has greater potential, and also like what's the word? Mana potential is greater if you start them young learning magic, which is why
he knows because it happened to him.
Exactly, right? Yeah, that's a connection he makes. But the whole like controversy that came out after this was basically they were criticizing the author because the author tends to use very divisive plot points to kind of move the story along, right? So we have kind of slavery in this one, which moves out, but then also season 1, we had the whole like Rudius being going after like like underage girls, right? Like we have like Iris and Roxy, I guess counts as well, and all that stuff.
Yeah.
There was a big controversy over that. The author even came out and was like, "Hey man, I don't condone slavery."
I don't know if you knew this, but like slavery is wrong.
Which is like in itself is very funny to me because it's like, hey guys, slavery's not good. Which I don't really think that was ever the issue. I don't think anyone was like, this guy definitely loves slavery.
The author 100% wishes that he could bring it back.
Dude, he loves it. It's all he cares about. It's in his X bio. But yeah, I don't know. I just wanted to bring that up, see if you had any thoughts about that, because like we obviously discussed the whole like main character thing, and we have to get into that again. But I don't really see a problem with like having slavery in your show or book or whatever, because in my mind he wasn't like romanticizing it. It wasn't like, oh man, slavery's great. It was like, no, it very clearly isn't. Like even in that scene, like the girl's not doing well, even to like just one quick thing, even to like protect the main character's image, there was a moment where the little girl was not like, she wasn't like saying her name. It's like, hey, what's it's like Rudius was like, hey, what's your name? And she was being silent. And in that moment, the like slave owner or whatever got upset and like reached in his jacket. We're assuming to like grab like a whip or something. I don't know, to like reprimand her and be like, hey, do what you're told. And Rudius was like, hey, don't do that. Like put a hand up and was like, hey, we don't need to do that. She's just a girl. I can just talk to her. That sort of thing. So like even in that moment, it's like Rudius wasn't like, yeah, get her. You know what I mean? So like,
yeah, whip her real good. I need her to answer.
Yeah, get her. I need to know her name. So I don't know. I think there's more arguments for like the first season's controversial stuff than this moment. I just find it weird that the internet like latched onto this.
I'll be real with you. I mean, this is how I view it. I think most isekai, as I said earlier, isekai and slavery, name a better pair. I'll put it this way, actually. Like, and also isekai and rape, also name a better pair. For some reason, those always come up as well. For
Goblin Slayer, episode 1.
Yeah, it's just weird. Okay, I don't know how else to put it. Also, like, I don't know what's with. Maybe it's me getting older, but I feel like rape is becoming more prevalent as a thing in anime / manga to like push and show. See how evil we are.
Yeah.
I point at SAO all the time for this. I'm like, we don't need. Like, this guy's already the villain. I didn't need to see him try to rape Asuna to see him and know he was a villain. I already knew he was bad.
Mm-hmm.
It's like, we can have something else be done here. I don't know. It's, I think it's used too much is actually my problem. And I think it's the same with slavery. I think it's used quite often, but it's also a way to show, like, hey, the hero is not a rapist, or they don't condone slavery. Look at that. That's crazy. Or in this case, like, you can still... Isekai is weird because they always be like, we slightly condone slavery in Isekai. We're like, we condone slavery in the Isekai. We're the good type of slavers. We don't hurt our slaves. We treat them kindly, and then we free them, but then they're still kind of slaves to the MC because they still listen and do what I ask because I'm an MC. And they feel indebted to me for the rest of the story.
I will say another wrench to throw into this. Another argument was made was that, well, in season 1, we do see him on a mission, which is to free some people from being slaves.
Mm-hmm.
And now in this season, buying slaves. Now, the counter argument to that counter argument is, and this is how, I think where it gets a little murky of like morality is this this season 2 slavery, which is the sequel to slavery, because that's what we all need, is that this one is more like, it's like government sanctioned, right? So it's like, this is just what happens in this town. And like, it's also not people going somewhere and stealing people and selling them. It's, hey, you owe me a debt, and then you're like, I can't pay it. Take my kid instead. Still bad, but I will say it's different than season 1, where season 1 it was literally like, there was like some criminals who stole people and was like holding them for ransom.
Some trafficking happening, right? Yeah.
Yeah, so again, still bad, but I do think some people missed those details when like having an outrage where it's like, well, it's not like American slavery where it's like, we went to another continent and stole people and then sold them. You know what I mean?
It's like, we went to another continent, taken them, moved them from this continent over to somewhere else where they don't know where they are.
Yeah.
And then told them what to do.
Yeah. So it is different. I mean, to me, it's like, something that I always remember. Do you have like these things that you remember from school? Like random things that, like, random pieces of knowledge that you're like, why did this stick with me?
Hit me with one. I do have some, but I don't know what they top of my head.
In social studies, we learned about this thing called indentured servants.
Indentured servants.
Which are not slaves.
They're not.
They're not, but they kind of are.
But they function like slaves.
Yeah, where it's like they had like contracts and like they're typically in 7-year intervals. I don't know why, that's just what it was apparently. And it was like working off a debt almost. Like maybe your parents owed some other people a debt and they gave you them, and it was like, all right, your debts, you got to work for us for 21 years or whatever. And after that though, you're free. So that's pretty cool. So yeah, like that's kind of what I would equate this to. Still bad, still not cool. Still not the jam. But I do think it's different, I don't know.
I mean, I think I already gave my idea on the morality there. I think you're right, though. I think it's not as harsh, at least in my eyes, on my opinion towards this. I just think that it's a pretty normal, I put normal in quotation marks. I just hate the idea of isekai constantly using the same tropes as a way to show their main characters in a better light, or to show and other characters in worse lights.
I agree. I mean, whenever I think of this, right, when you're like, oh, slavery is an all isekai, I immediately thought of Rising a Shield Hero, where that's literally how he gets the second main character other than himself, is that he buys Raftalia.
Yeah, he buys her and then he frees her.
Yeah, but then even that to me is like, that's bad, right? Obviously, but one thing that I think they do well, which kind of sort of tries to claw its way out of your like criticism of like slavery and isekai, is that they don't mention it again. Like it just happens and then it's done, and it's like okay,
it's
now
just for that arc, get covered in.
And like,
and then
again,
I think there's like future arcs where there are slaves, and then he's still upset with that. And he does stuff, but like it's never really focused on heavily. It's like, okay, let's stop this from happening. Or like the other heroes have slaves, and he's like, I don't really have one. He's like, I did buy one, but like that's the thing. Actually, the other heroes don't have slaves. I think is actually what happened, and like you bought a slave, and it villainizes them even more.
Exactly, yeah. It's like it's made to see, and again, I feel like that's different as well from other isekai, where it's like there's so much other stuff. Like
Shield Hero is an exception to that.
Yeah, that show's different because that whole show, at least the first season, is I didn't watch second season because second season was really bad apparently, and like even the manga readers are like, yo, second season is the bad arc. You just skip that. the whole first season though is made to paint the main character as the villain, as the bad guy, whereas other
At least
isekai,
from not from his perspective because we're seeing that, but from
yeah,
everyone
right,
else looking in, it's like
right,
this guy's a bad guy.
yeah, and so that makes sense. Again, I don't think we needed that to happen, but that does make sense in it, where it's like, you bought a slave? Are you crazy? Like, what? Are you like why are you even dealing with that world?
We understand it as like because no one else is willing to team up with him. He has all he has is like, I guess I have to buy someone to work with me
Yeah.
because the reputation precedes him everywhere he goes.
Again, that is like, that just adds to like the constant fight for him to be like, I am way better than all of you guys. Like, all of you guys are selfish. All of you guys are playing the game so wrong. And then it's something like this, like other isekai, but something like Jobless Reincarnation, it's like, they didn't have to do that. Like, no one, again, like, trying to have a direct comparison, no one's painting Rudius as a bad guy, like, ever. Like,
I just think he's morally gray, and there's obviously like flags for him, but like he's still a hero.
Yeah. Well, like, again, like, in the world, I think, yeah, I mean, sometimes there is like, some like small character interactions where the one character is like, you're kind of odd, aren't you? But I think generally it's like Rudius comes to every town, does all the good stuff purposely because his whole thing is he wants to get his name out there so he can find his family. So if he gets popular in like the Heroes Guild in every single town, eventually his mom is going to hear of him or whatever, right? That's like his plan. So again, like, generally good guy, seen as like a like positive person in the world. He's not seen as a criminal. So I think having this, not necessary, where something in Rising a Shield Hero, it's like, we're going to take something awful and turn it around on everyone, not just to show, oh, the main character is actually good, look at how he doesn't condone slavery. Yeah.
You're putting it words, yeah. Shield Hero, it's like, I'm bad, I do bad thing on outside, it doesn't matter. If I do good thing on outside, they're like, oh, you're trying to play good now. But he can't win in Shield Hero. There's no winning.
Dude. It is one of the most frustrating shows to watch, because it's like,
he's like, if I do something good, people are thinking that it's gonna just end up me like plotting. If I do something bad, they're gonna be like, oh, it's exactly what he was doing.
Yep. It's crazy. There was something else, maybe. No, I think that's it. It, right?
That's good. That's good discussion. Once again, covering it here, IBO, Summertime Rendering, Nana on break. Next week, we will be covering the 12 and 13 episodes for Rakugo, Nomad, and Summertime Rendering. Nope, I said that wrong. Place for it in the universe. There we go.
Yeah.
12 and 13 for all three of those, wrapping everything up and possibly finding out what our fourth show is. I don't know.
Yeah. I mean, we'll definitely announce it because we'll have to. Because then for the following episode, everyone will have to know what it is. To then be prepared.
Okay. Got it.
Yeah. Yes, like next week we'll finish up these shows, and then announce what our fourth show will be for the next week.
Also, because we're wrapping up the show, we need to talk about the show as a whole, and that's kind of cool.
Yeah. So it'll be like 12 and 13, but it'll also be like the whole show, or the whole season, I guess, because...
Yeah, our favorite parts, what we didn't like,
Yeah, a little bit of reminiscing. I'm sure we'll do that for every show once we finish, like, its respective season, going forward.
Feels a bit odd without Summertime Rendering.
Oh, dude, what a program!
I think it is the favorite out of the others. It hurts to say.
Yeah.
Like, I love all these shows, but I think Rendering just... It's just been a while since I've watched a good mystery, so...
It just hits every week, Like, I feel like all these other shows hit most of the time.
Like, the 2-episode rule now is going to work well in the favor of other shows.
Yeah, exactly. And Summertime is going to be like more food.
I think Summertime may hit. I don't want to say. I think it may hit the problem with Summertime where it may be so dense.
Yeah. That could be.
With 2 episodes.
That could be true.
Well, there may have to be extensive note taking just for Summertime to understand 2 episodes a week. Because 1 episode's already kind of dense sometimes.
Yeah, one
2?
episode's a lot.
They know how to
Crazy.
pack in those 30 minutes, dude.
Yeah. Yeah, so we'll do that. Be a fun time.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. I think that's it, Ray. You have anything else for the class? Anything else you want to share with the class?
I don't have any like funny jokes or anything. Nothing that I set up ahead of time. No. All I had was the NOMAD. I'm not mad. Are you mad?
Look at what Ray can do with 7 days of preparation.
There's been better bits I came up with before that, but it's really just a sleeper one.
Okay. Yeah. Okay.
I don't know, like play Trails. That's a fun game series. Play Trails. Play it. If you're a fan of JRPGs, play Trails. Yeah, there's like a stupid amount of games, like 3, 2, 4. Yeah, it's like over 9 games, like the base thing. 10, I think, now out that are localized. There's 10 that's localized. 10 of them. And there's, I think, 2 or 3 more in Japan, or I think.
Yeah, I was gonna say
Play
there's
'em.
gonna be like a dozen. That would be my guess, like a dozen.
Play them. They're good. They're fun games. Nice JRPGs. You can play like the first one, which is, I'll say it this way, the nicest way to put it, it's a prequel. It's the Way of Kings to the Words of Radiance. Like, you play the first game, and you're like, this is all just set up for like the second game. That's the best comparison I'll give there, and you understand that completely.
I do.
You're like, this is good, and then you read the second one, you're like, this is just better. Like, this pays off every single. Like, they've said so much things in this first book, and all the plot lines they paid off in the second one, and they came up with new plot lines and new characters, and I love them all more. Like, what is this?
That's good though.
That's what happened. So if you play Trails in the Sky and you're like, this is okay. If you don't like it, I'd say drop it there. It's not for you. But if you have a hint of liking it, definitely go into the second one, and then if you hate it from there, honestly, don't look back.
Leave.
If you have a hint of liking the first one, these games go on sale all the time. They're like $10 on Steam when they go on sale. I don't know if they're on Switch. I know they're on PC and Vita. That's very specific. What?
They're probably on Switch. They definitely feel like Switch games.
I know Cold Steel is on Switch, the newer ones, and then like Zero and Azure I know are on Switch, but these ones I don't know if they localize for that. If not, I mean, there's ways to maybe play them on Switch, or if you have Steam Deck, it probably is a solution.
Ooh, Steam Deck. The best way to play games.
They have a weird PlayStation deal, I think, for the new ones games that come out in Japan, because they always get released on PlayStation before they get moved over to PC. It's one of those weird PlayStation pseudo exclusives.
Yeah. A lot of the Japanese companies do that with PlayStation. Like Final Fantasy, stuff like that.
14 is coming to Xbox.
Yeah, I saw that.
That's big. The number one hit MMO, where you can get to level 60 and play through the base campaign, A Realm Reborn, and the award-winning expansion Heavensward up to level 60 for free, unlimited.
That's good.
Plus, next week they'll be adding the Stormblood expansion, making that level 60 actually level 80. So you can play all the way to level 80, play through the main campaign of Realm Reborn, and the 2 expansions, the award-winning Heavensward and Stormblood. All for free?
How much are they paying you to say this? How much are they paying you?
Not being paid any money.
Sounds like someone who was getting paid money to say.
By like a Raid Shadow Legends.
Oh no!
Download today, you get 5,000 silver and a free hero.
Those words mean nothing to me.
Have you ever wanted to experience real gaming as you ever had before? Download this app on your mobile device, and you too could be playing with people around the world, building over hundreds of unique characters with different gear and equipment, and building teams that suit different environments and playstyles.
I have a.
We have arena, guild combat.
Okay, still going. I have a question.
Yeah. Very fast.
What if I don't have a mobile phone? What do I do?
If you don't have a mobile device, you can use your PC, download a mobile emulator. They have many of them. Two more popular ones are Nox and LD Player. Or if you have Windows 11 on your computer, you can download the beta for some Android app emulation that's built into Windows 11, where you can download the APK and run the game on there. Hello. What is your question?
What if I have a Mac?
I believe if you have a Mac, you can still run Nox or LD Player. Yeah.
Why didn't you seem sure about that answer?
I actually don't know if they have Mac specific for that. Yeah.
Doesn't sound like you know what you're talking about.
LD Player Mac. Okay, they do have a Mac launcher. And then let me check Nox as well.
I don't like the idea of like.
They do have Nox for Mac as well. Okay, good. Oh, just confirming. Raid is not good, in my opinion. I don't know.
Yeah.
I play a lot of mobile games.
I feel like most things, if not all things, most things that you hear on 99% of podcasts aren't good products.
What are we trying to say? Are you saying something about our product?
I mean, it's just like, what do we like? How good is Shady Race? You know what I'm saying? Like, what do you like? You know what I mean?
What about the pillow cube? How good's the pillow cube? Or like,
dude, the pillow cube is the dumbest. They're like, oh, we did the technology, and actually, a cube is the best. Shut up. No, it's not. You're an idiot. I hope your business goes bankrupt. You're so wrong. I would trust any of the products on old like infomercials before I would trust the products that for some reason need to place themselves on every YouTube video. Because it's like, if your product is good, you don't need to sell yourself on a podcast that gets 500 views an episode. Like, there's no way your product is good.
This video has been brought to you by HelloFresh.
HelloFresh is not good. HelloFresh sucks. Don't get that.
I think really I'm sorry it has to be this way, but like maybe just learn how to cook.
Yeah. Like,
you also have YouTube videos for that.
Yeah. They're like, oh, cheap meals. I'm like, you know what's cheaper than buying a subscription service for food? You're just buying the food and making it. Like, we have the internet. You can learn how to do anything.
It's all there. Right here on your screen.
Okay, so I know what you just said, but when you first said what you just said, I hear your screams. And I was like,
you viewer, I hear your screams.
What are they screaming for? They're screaming for HelloFresh? What are they?
They're screaming for more Raid Shadow Legends.
We need you to stop.
Okay, it was like a subtle joke. I brought out too much. But the reason I brought up the Final Fantasy 14 thing is actually because I am playing 14. I started.
Of course. You having a good time? Why would you?
What?
Why?
Well, I'm confused what the why is for at this point.
Why pick up 14 now, and not like other games that exist?
That's a good question. I mean, it is a free trial, and also they are adding the second expansion, which is kind of cool.
The freeness of it makes sense.
If I don't like it, I can always stop playing because it's free right now.
That's true. Yeah.
I mean, I've heard good things about. Oh, I'll put it this way: Heaven's Word I heard is good. Stormblood, no, not much people talk about that. But then I've heard good things for Shadowbringers, and I heard really good things for Endwalker. And they just announced they're coming out with a new one, Dawn trailer, whatever they're calling it.
Mm-hmm.
But I know definitely the last two expansions have been really praised for story.
Yeah, I have heard that it actually has a surprisingly good story for like a MMO type thing.
The only problem is that's an MMO, and it's a blessing in con in disguise. It's an MMO.
Yeah, I wouldn't be able to play it.
If you hate those type of games, it's just not going to happen.
Yeah.
I'll say with the free trial, it's basically a single player game because you can't form parties.
I hate parties.
You can join random parties for stuff, or you can also, like, if it's story stuff, they just kind of put NPCs with you to do stuff.
Well, it's like that's how I play Genshin Impact. I haven't played it in a while.
They just got the new update for that, dude.
Yeah, did you see that for 4.0.0?
Yeah, man.
Yeah.
This is the new Hydro place.
That's the podcast.
That's the podcast.
Yeah, that's it. Watch anime next week. We'll have a good time. If you have any suggestions before we record next week for what our 4th show should be, let us know.
Maybe I'll come up with a better joke next time. I don't know.
Yeah, or you won't,
Maybe they can write a joke and...
Ooh, okay. I like... You know what, Ray? That is the best idea you've ever had. I love the idea of people writing jokes for you and you saying them on a podcast. That is incredible. That is genius.
I don't know if you're being serious or not.
No, I'm being dead serious. That's really funny.
Cause like, it could hit, dude. Like, if this podcast was in like 10 years ago, we would like kill it with that. That would have been like,
yeah,
prime material.
Yeah. So anyway, do that. Listen, 2 comments, all right? Don't be cheap and put them both in one comment, all right? Do 2 comments. 1 for what you want our 4th show to be, and then 1 for your best joke for Rayman. Now, this is also, not a joke.
Let's make YouTube friendly. Okay, let's be real.
Yeah, sure, whatever. Yeah, whatever. I don't care.
I'm not trying to say something that will get me canceled right now.
I mean, we didn't talk about like slavery and rape this episode or anything, did we? Oh, we did?
No, I think we're clear.
Oh, wait. My producer. We can't upload this? Oh, Interesting. Okay. How about we just upload the bit about Raid Shadow Legends? Oh, wait, the Raid Shadow Legends people don't like that? Interesting.
They said we're not even sponsored. They don't even like that.
We owe them money now? That seems backwards. That seems wrong. I don't agree with that.
Advertising.